Welcome to the Winding Road Podcast, friends. Got Ace along with me for the journey today. You may see him pop his head into the frame every once in a while. Check out Ace Adventures up on the old YouTube here as well. No, we don't get too many people watching these on YouTube, and that's all right. A lot of people listen to podcasts, I think, still more than they do watching podcasts. You get a decent amount of you guys listening on Spotify and some of the other platforms. Greatly appreciate that. But if you are on YouTube, hit the old like, follow, subscribe button. Greatly appreciate it as we continue to try to grow the channel. It's all about growth, period, in life. And one of the things I've been thinking about recently with growth is just my ability. I still have a long way to go, but my ability to not perseverate on things. And that's been huge. And to be able to keep my emotional calm. And I think a lot of it just come with experience and comes with time. You know, the old adage, like the more life experience you have, the more times you mess up. If you're learning from that, then you're growing, man. And I know it's cliche, simple stuff, but it's just so profound and so true. Just being able to just be chill about it. Because, if you stay chill and you don't get emotionally charged and you're in a conversation, other people start getting emotionally charged, then you do, in a sense, so to speak, quote unquote, gain the upper hand. And it's not that I really want to have an upper hand on anything, but it does allow you, I don't know, man, it just helps. It helps. If you're staying calm and staying chill, it helps. And if the other person getting emotionally charged, like, it might be better off just to not say anything, like, maybe it's a simple statement. If you can, sometimes people pressure, maybe they intentionally or unintentionally, like, press your buttons and everything and say shit that's not true, but then you got to ask yourself, is any of it true? Because why if I am getting emotionally charged, like, then you go back to the mirror thing, and really it's just your emotions are like, somebody says something to you, it's getting you emotionally charged. Like, yeah, you might be getting mad about it because what they said is like untrue and false, and you're trying to defend yourself, but at the same time, or in other times, whatever, yeah, you might want to ask yourself, like, yeah, it hurts, because it might be saying it in a hurtful way, but you might be reacting to it because you believe, you already have that belief in yourself of whatever they're saying. Like, a little tiny part of it might be true, so you're latching on to that emotion, and that's really what's getting to you, because then you are getting upset with yourself. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. I think it does to me. Maybe it will to somebody. Great. It's a reflection, man. Life's a mirror. Life's a mirror. And so those things can happen for sure. But yeah, I think with anything, and being able to not react and get upset about things just does come from the awareness, that we're not our bodies. We're spirits living in this world, but we're not of this world. Now I try to just keep reminding myself of those things, to just to stay a step removed, stay a step back from the fire, so that you're not getting burnt. Just being more of an observer rather than, you're the active participant, but you have to be the observer as well. Like, that's really, man, where I think a lot of growth comes from, is just being the observer of yourself. Being the observer of yourself. You gotta let Ace out here, guys. Let him run around a little bit. And it's just keeping things in perspective, man. It really is just keeping things in perspective, with the focus on your spirit and not your soul. And I think now, like, man, I had a lot of anger issues growing up and everything. Like, that was prevalent, But Bible says slow to anger, though. Slow to anger. So I'm trying to learn that more and more as the years go by. And so what I've started to notice now is I've been paying attention, I've been observing those feelings of anger. And then you can observe your thoughts about what somebody might have said or whatever that might lead you to getting emotionally charged going. And then you think about the mirror thing, you think about all that other stuff, but then I'm like, okay, at some point, like, yeah, I observed that. I realized, what I could have done better and try to apply that for next time. So I observed that, took that in, but at the same time, you might want to wait a little while till you're out of that place of anger. But if you can observe it while it's going on, that can really help you as well. Because I'll notice, like, I'll just be sitting there quietly and I won't be thinking about it. I'll stop thinking about it, and start doing something else, but to try to, get back to that tranquility and peace. But at the same time, you just feel it in you, man. You're like, oh my, it's in you. But I'm not reacting to that. I'm taking a proactive approach. I'm like, okay, I see you, anger. I know I'm not supposed to be this way, so I'm not going to react, because then it's like, going to sin, if you will. If I react from my anger and lash out because of my anger, then I'm sinning. But if it's just inside of me, I'm not so sure that's just a sin. But, because it goes back to the thoughts, there's good, there's light, there's dark in all of us. If we're living from the Spirit, in my case, being a Christian, living from the Holy Spirit that's inside of me, if I'm living in that place, yes, but we are in a fallen world, so those dark thoughts or the angry thoughts, are going to still come. But whenever they do come and I'm in a place of anger, if I'm doing it right, then I'm like, I'm feeling the anger of it, but then those thoughts come in, then I just bind and rebuke them, man. Because I know that if I start letting myself attach to them, then I know there's a better chance that I'm going to start reacting out of anger. So it's best to just like, nope, and just let it go out of you. Don't let those things stick, guys. Yes, they're going to come, but you just got to let them pass through. However it is you can figure out to try to help your brain to do that, you got to just let them pass through, because you have to realize those are from the darkness, those are from the enemy. That's where the enemy tries to go and invade your mind. Tries to invade your mind with those thoughts because they're natural, because we're in a fallen world. So it's natural. It's going to happen. It's not us, though. It's not us. It definitely ain't coming from the Holy Spirit. But with progress, there's always going to be the tension to try to pull back, the pull against it. The more and more you do for love, the more and more that the enemy is going to try to pull on you. Because the enemy, that somebody's already living in sin and doesn't have much love in their life, they already got them. So that enemy doesn't have to really work too hard to try to pull them in. But us that are living via the Spirit, through the Spirit, they got to try to fight that much harder against you. So they got to figure out ways to be clever about tricking you into grasping a hold of those negative thoughts, and then create negative neural pathways rather than positive neural pathways. Now, if you've done a good job, and this has all come since I've started this podcast, a lot of it, just getting in nature, realizing we're spirits, all that stuff, that takes time. That takes time to develop those positive neural pathways. I mean, it's the elasticity in the brain. If you want to get down to the science, we've talked about this a lot, but it's true. Like, yes, it's a spiritual thing, but it's a scientific thing. Neurons, all that stuff is wild, man. I'm reading a book right now. Oh God, what is it called? It's called I don't know, it's about, I can't remember the name of it. The connection we have through art via the neuroaesthetics. and how the nature and all that stuff actually is pleasing and releasing endorphins and all that other stuff in our brain, like when we see beautiful things. But then it's like looking at art, and there's just that deeper sense of being that you have when you're observing art. And a lot of it's curiosity, a lot of it's wonder. If you have those things in your life, then whenever you look at the art, you're gonna start having that deeper sense of being. So it's about the neuroaesthetics and all the neuro arts and that shit. You know, the more and more we focus on that type of stuff, and, you know, realizing the beauty of it and the beauty of this world, not focusing on those negative things, yes, there's a chance that it's going to be harder for the enemy to try to trick you into falling into the trap of the darkness. But with those neural pathways, it goes back to whenever you're having that anger in you and you're feeling that anger and those thoughts come, you let them go. Don't attach on to them now. And once you're out of the anger, then you can go back and take a neutral mindset. Because, man, when we're emotionally charged, like, think about it, man. When you're arguing with people and people start yelling at each other, nothing's getting accomplished. Because nobody's listening to each other. They're just trying to be right fighters. They're just trying to win the argument, and nothing is getting accomplished. That's why I've tried, and I'm getting better and better about just letting it go. I'm like, all right, you know, like, even if I don't say, hey, you know, let's talk about this later. I see I've not gotten to that level. I'm trying to get there. Hey, you know, I see you're emotionally charged about this right now. Maybe we should talk about this whenever we're both a little more calm-headed, even if you are calm-headed there. But if you say both, then, you know, then it's not, you're not trying to say that you're better than them or you got it all figured out and they don't, because you're saying that you aren't perfect either. You know, by saying that. Now, maybe does that kind of parlay a little bit of weakness in there on your part if you're not the one emotionally charged? Maybe, but that's like kind of letting your ego go. But then you got to be guard against that kind of stuff too, because then people, you know, come back on you and say, oh, well, you were getting emotionally charged up too, even though you weren't. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like, that stuff's all very complex, and you got to treat every situation differently. That's another big key thing. Like, yes, on certain things, for sure, there's patterns. Certain things relate to certain things. But if we try to treat each incident just for what it is in that moment and really focus on only what's happening right there and trying to figure out the best way to solve a challenge, inserting that word a lot lately too, guys. Been trying not to say difficult, been trying not to say hard, because then it just makes it harder, as we've talked about. You know, I'm going to say it's easy. Even if it's not easy, I'm going to say it's easy, so my brain eventually tricks itself into say, oh, I got this. Yeah, so I've just been looking at things as a challenge. And I got this is my little microphone bag. I've just been wearing it around my hand because I'm silly. And it's fun. It kind of feels good. The fabric goes back to the neuroaesthetics. That's one of the neuroaesthetics. Touch, those senses. So we can use our 5 senses to help us be multi-sensory beings. Ooh, that's an interesting thought. Yeah, we really can. The neuroaesthetics of that gives us that deeper sense. So it's like being in this world, appreciating the beauty. You know, I'm looking out at trees in the lake right now. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm appreciating that sense, so then I let that soak in to my deeper sense of being, allowing those regular senses to help me gain that deeper understanding of things. That's a very beautiful, very good way to look at that. I like that a lot. Awesome. Been kind of rambling and bumbling around a bit. That's what the Winding Road podcast is all about. Just kind of my thoughts out loud to you. Hopefully you gain something from it, because I'm working through it in the moment. You know, I'm working through some of these thoughts in the moment. It's not necessarily that I think about them all the time, or even that often. I do sometimes, for sure, but a lot of times it's getting on there and clicking, and I'm clicking on it because I want to talk out loud to you with it while I'm kind of working through it and kind of trying to figure it out, so that it's raw, baby. It's raw. We're going in raw, baby. You betcha. Yeah, let's see. I might do a part 2 here in a minute. I don't know. I'm gonna get out and run around with Ace. Don't have a whole lot of time because got to get on to some other recreational activities. So, you know what? I think I'll just wrap this up. I like to keep these things short and sweet, because to be honest with you, you know, like, yeah, I'll watch podcasts that are an hour, 2, 3 hours long, but man, I only got time to do so much. And it's just like, I feel like these shorter form ones, You know, allows you to get on there 15 minutes. Cool, might inspire you. Cool, might make you laugh. Whatever it is. But then we're out, guys. We're out. And we're back to doing, you know, being out in nature and doing great things and making a difference and making an impact on the people's lives around us. That's interesting, because it is like, man, I try not to watch those YouTube shorts and very much on that, because it's just like click, 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 and it's just, you know, our brain's not short-term memory. Shit, what's the word I'm trying to think of here? Our attention deficit is like scrolling through too many of that stuff, but it kind of does help us in a way. You know, that, you know, just you view a few short things and then boom, we're on to the next thing. So it's like watching recaps of podcasts, the best moment and everything. Maybe I should start doing that a little bit more. It's like, because then I can gain more access to information, because then you're kind of weeding out all the fluff, I guess, so to say. I don't know, I can't talk today. Still on these Zen things, so maybe that's why. Been doing a good job, you know, not smoking, doing all that stuff, no tobacco, none of that. Got off the nicotine for a little while, and then now, you know, regressed a little bit, going back to that, but I'm taking 2 steps, or I might take a step back, but man, I'm taking 2 steps forward. Taking 2 steps forward in the process. Grow, people. I'm me, you're you, but we are each other. As I've been watching a show lately, it's been very, very good, called Manifest. It's on Netflix, about the plane that disappears for 5 years. People come back. It's very good. Very, very good. In that, though, the kid on there says, it's all connected. And I'm like, yeah, I think that. I'm a believer in that. Where was I? Love, inspire, unite. God bless.